like they get into it over that, and his conclusion is, well, maybe I'm not a fit for you.
His biggest crime is that he believed in himself too much to allow negative opinions, which may be valid, affect his self-portrait. And that is what several folks are calling character issues. Shedeur Sanders has been the talk of everything when it comes to football so far, but we want to talk about the root of why this sparked. And it's really because of the interview, not necessarily the draft slide, but what caused it. Now, remember, the rumblings had came out not just a day before the draft of him having a terrible interview, but even at the combine, people were saying that the process was bad. He wasn't as interested in some people. And now it seems like things are slowly leaking from the Giants. The Giants have released both of their picks, Abdul Carter and Jaxson, which is normal, release their interview because it went well, XYZ LMNOP. But I think people are wondering why hasn't just like Jaden Daniels was released last year, even though he didn't get picked and people were trying to make him bad. So why can't Shedeur Sanders come out? Well, it seems like Cam Newton's got more leaks. Todd McShay has more leaks. We're going to go deeper into that, as well as check in on Jaxson Dart, the guy that they originally went with. Apparently the Giants fans are loving him. Brian Daboll's loving him. But let's start with Cam Newton, because they had some they're going to react to Todd McShay, or not Todd McShay, but Albert Beer down here, and they're going to go into detail here.
This private meeting with the Giants, and we have some videos to kind of talk about this. The New York brought him in to a one-on-one during the draft, during the combine, and put him up to some tests, obviously with plays and whatnot, and I don't think it went over well with Shedeur, allegedly.
So
all right, we'll just watch this one since they're going to watch it anyway.
ESPN turned themselves upside down. Mel Kiper embarrassed himself over this.
Yeah, and if I don't want to say people should have listened to me, but they should have listened to me. Like I was saying for 2 months that
you've been saying he's dropped.
Most of the league does not look at him like he's a first-round talent. Now, I will say this. I think the fall out of the first 2 rounds was about talent and performance. I think the fall after that was about everything else.
Then you become
third round. Now we're talking about, for some teams, players that are depth or they're developmental, and those players generally have to develop in the shadows. And this was the case. I mean, we've seen a zillion cases of it. But
did you see what he did yesterday?
Your backup quarterback, they want you to blend in with the furniture. It's why Jay Cutler didn't have a second life as a player. It's why Cam Newton didn't have a second life as a player. It's why, again, why I think Tim Tebow, or at least part of the reason why Tim Tebow and Colin Kaepernick, after it had been deemed they are no longer starters, had trouble finding jobs.
This is copyright. Let's get to the actual quotes, because he is going to talk about some specific quotes right here too.
They give players an install, and there are mistakes intentionally put in the install, and he didn't catch them and got called on it, and it didn't go well after that. There was another team that he sat down with.
What do you mean it didn't go well after that?
So, he was pissed that they
did that to him.
They did that to him.
He counter-confronted
the
them.
same thing they do to every other quarterback prospect. They did that to him. They slide in a mistake to see if you catch it.
Right. And so,
because you're the quarterback.
But he didn't take it as a correction. He took it as like he got pissed off.
Yeah, and it's like, so here's another one. So another one was, he throws a bad interception, and it was a deep throw early in the game, and he comes back and they go in the meeting, they show the interception, and they say, what happened here? Well, I like to get into a rhythm earlier in the game, and they get into it over that, and his conclusion is, well, maybe I'm not a fit for you. And it's like stuff like that. It's like you're sitting in a meeting with an NFL team, you're trying to sell yourself, you're in a job interview, and it's maybe I'm not a what?
And I think this is a perfect place to stop, and we can go and we can have Cam Newton's reaction to it. I really don't care. Cam Newton's reaction to it. What I do care about is the idea of that, right? Let's talk about both these things. We talked about this because this one's a little older. The whole, hey, he was pissed at the install, and I translated that to y'all specifically with the Giants. That remember the team that Deion Sanders walked out of his pre-draft process with. It was the Giants. There was a test that wanted to be taken. That story's been told 1,000 times. Hey, he just walked out. Y'all ain't picking early enough. He just got up out of there, right? So if you take that plus Like his experience with that specific team, and then the idea that, of course, he's going to tell Shedeur that. He's going to tell Shedeur, hey, don't let these teams play with you, right? Now, was that the right thing to do? Probably not to get to the first round. But as someone who does not need to grovel for a spot, or who at least felt that way, like that, my issue, and a lot of y'all keep saying, like, okay, he's arrogant, he's this, he's that. Is it arrogant to believe in yourself? Like that's my question. At what point is being cool and confident, whatever, it too much? Because again, the things that Shedeur is confident about and saying that he can do great, it's things that everyone else says they can do. Hey, I can change a franchise. I can do this. I've done it multiple times. Wow, I have proof for what I have to say. It's not, hey, it's not my fault that you NFL fans don't respect HBCU players, right? You don't respect Walter Payton. You don't respect I was about to say Randy Moss so much. You don't respect Shannon Sharp. You don't respect any of these names. You don't respect some of the most legendary players in the history of the NFL because y'all don't even talk about his contributions at Jackson State. Oh, he's 12-13. He's 12-13. He's never won anything. I mean, he's one of the most prestigious FCS divisions. One that's produced multiple NFL Hall of Famers. I guess that don't mean nothing to y'all. Right? So on top of that, yeah, I feel like I'm talented. I do feel like I'm talented. So when we talk about people being humbled, he wasn't going in there saying legendary. He wasn't putting a rollie in people's faces, right? He was given something in an environment in which he thought, okay, we're just going to go through. This is straightforward. And now, again, was it right to not have an agent that probably would have told you, hey, this is what the Giants do, right? Did y'all not see the Jaden Daniels thing? Like, this is what the Giants do. Yeah, that probably would have been better. But at the same time, it's the Giants, the same team that Deion walked out on, right? So, nah, man. I'm going to be mad. Why are y'all doing this? Why are y'all wasting my time? Again, is that right? Is that what he should do? No. But they're over here talking about, like, why aren't you? Oh, we're not a right fit. So now when he's self-aware and says, hey, I guess I'm not the right fit. That's a problem too. That's my bigger problem there is that, like, what are we talking about right now? I'm not saying that can't be an issue. Oh, well, that's a weird response. I'm not saying that can't be odd, but understand, guys, I'm not here defending and saying that Shedeur Sanders shouldn't have fell. Oh, yeah, okay, he falls out the first of 2 rounds. Okay, he doesn't have the most elite talent. I don't know. It's so funny because y'all call me a Shedeur Sanders glazer. When I told y'all he doesn't have first-round talent, I thought he could become a first-rounder because of how weak this quarterback class was. But, again, y'all don't listen. So I get it. Y'all don't really listen to these videos. Y'all put it on the TV. Y'all do what y'all got to do. Great. Enjoy it. Appreciate you. But like I've been saying, second round, no problem. Third round, even okay, boom. He has a pedigree and enough talent in a quarterback, very, very awful quarterback class that people were demeaning. That if he was like the third quarterback taken, I think everybody was okay with that. Even the biggest Shedeur Sanders haters were okay with that. And as we see him tearing it up at the Browns, right? I think we can all agree that people agreed with that. My issue is that what I'm reading now, these leaks here, that makes him a 5th round quarterback. That makes people, GMs, just completely take him off the board. Guys, we talked about LeJontay Wester's teammate, Mike Green out of Marshall. Dog, he had a history of because I can't say it, you know what I'm saying, problems with ladies. In being, in situations that he shouldn't do and they didn't want. He had multiple incidents dating back from high school and his previous college from Marshall. And then Marshall pre-draft, he gets done and he gets drafted in the 2nd round. It's an edge player, different, right? But I'm talking about, like, at what point do we weigh the the amount that he was penalized. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he was colluded. I'm not out here throwing these R words. Y'all can't say that. I know y'all like to get in my comments and say that because y'all don't listen. Y'all don't watch it. So if you did that, you look stupid. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that a player with a documented history dating back to high school of inappropriately touching ladies. Oh yeah, you just dropped from a top 15 pick to a second round pick. And what you're telling me is Shedeur, and again, this is the other one, anonymous quarterback coach Josh McCown, an anonymous coach who said that the Browns' Shedeur Sanders was the worst formal interview I've ever had in my life. Shedeur took a FaceTime call from new friend Shanessa during his interview with head coach. Okay, this has to be a lie. I'm really hoping this is a lie. But again, this is what happens when all the leaks are just leaking and no one's confirming anything, right? But remember that they took an edge player with a deep history, not just, oh, he had an allegation that pop up. Dog, if they call you to steal, what is it, Chris Rock's joke or Chris Tucker, I forgot who it was, but if they say you smoking for that long, I think you probably smoking, you know what I'm saying? You probably doing it. They don't call you that since high school, and everybody's like, that's cool. Raven's like, yeah. Now we investigated it. We got it. Now, it's very possible that, hey, that wasn't a problem. That wasn't an issue. But we talk about red flags, having an issue with an install and having, what's it called? The other one was saying, hey, I'm not a fit for you. Are those the same levels? Is that the same levels? I'm not saying it is. But then on top of that, you talk about Tyler Stroh, the quarterback that was drafted before him. Look how this is what I mean. This is what I mean by it's just like, yo, I don't think it's collusion, but I do think it's silly. You're telling me the New Orleans Saints, who had a quarterback in Derek Carr with already had a history of injury problems from the Raiders. He has to basically medically retire because of his shoulder. Basically, I'm not sure if he technically medically retired, but it's because of his shoulder. That's why he's retiring, because of his lengthy injury history. So before the long injury riddled player retires, who they thought was going to be their quarterback still for a few more years before this new draft quarterback they drafted comes in, well, they just decided to draft a quarterback who is not just 26-year-old, but who has not played a snap of NFL, has not played an NFL snap, who has a lengthier injury past than the one that just medically retired. That's the quarterback they took, the second quarterback taken in the draft. Guys, I'm not a crazy delusional Shedeur Glazer. We got to be honest with each other, though. We got to be honest. They had Spencer Rattler and a man who was giving sermons with a bionic shoulder. And he retires before they can even get to minicamp. And the person they drafted has a longer injury. Oh, guys, let's watch Jaxson Dart. All right, we talked about some interviews. Let's see the interviews that were released. By the way, the Giants fans are loving their Anakin Skywalker. So shout out to him. I think he's gonna fit right in there. Looks like Brian Daboll is having a great time. They're saying there's a different vibe. They're liking old six. You got Brian Daboll all up in his Wheaties, very excited for his new quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He's over here bouncing and bopping all around. Look at him, man. Look at him. He's feeling it. So shout out to Brian Daboll for at least feeling it. I don't know how they're gonna copyright this, so we're not gonna take too long on these. We're just gonna pop in and pop out. We have Abdul Carter and Jaxson Dart's interview, so we can kind of see what they wanted to kind of put them through.
Good, how are you?
Jaxson Dart. This is his 30 visit. So this isn't even the combine, by the way. This is a 30 visit. It's different. This is different.
That's how we start the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So you get in the huddle, you're called to play. Before you can start on your cadence, the number one thing you got to do is make sure what?
Everybody's set.
Everybody's set. Everybody's in the right spot. You control that. All right. That's the job of the quarterback.
Why 20? Why 27?
Good.
Okay, stand up on that board. Write down the 4 suffixes for motions that we talked about. Now, go ahead and teach those to me in a matter of like a minute.
We're going to move on to pass protection now, all right? Now, before we get into it, this is the most important thing that you have to know going from college to the pros. There's going to be more of them, and you have to know how to protect yourself.
Draw a blitz. Draw a blitz. Let's all assume that the 4 down linemen are blitzing or rushing, okay?
Yeah.
Draw a blitz from the remaining 7 guys that we could not pick up in this protection.
57 pro. Who's the Mike?
The mic is 41.
Good. Who's the Will?
51.
Do you have any issues to the strong side here with the protection?
No.
If you did, if he was coming down and getting on the line of scrimmage, you would say what?
Over.
Great.
Good job, buddy. Tell me what this tight end's doing that you don't like.
He should be pushing for leverage.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, so, and I don't want to get into it because this is going to get into some boring football stuff. I love stuff like this. But it's great to see, that, look, I know people want to be mad at Jaxson Dart and mad at Dylan Gabriel. I'm not. I like Jaxson Dart. I've been watching him since the USC days. I just didn't think that he's an elite quarterback. Now, you give him time, sure. Okay, we can do that. And on top of that, he's an Ole Miss quarterback, right? He wasn't operating in a very advanced offense. And that's something that I harped on. And when he went on the John Gruden situation, everybody was making fun of him because he only had a clap cadence. And I had been telling y'all that that's again, the Ole Miss offense is just a simplistic offense. Y'all SEC fans be getting mad at me when I tell you that. That's just what it is. Sorry, Matt Corral. Sorry about it. Like there's not a lot of reading. It's a one read offense. It's an RPO offense, right? He would throw big bombs on wide open plays. Now, does that mean that he's not good? No, that does not mean that he's not good and he can't be great and he can't do phenomenal things, right? But at the same time, seeing him, comfortable here, comfortable doing the things that he probably wasn't even asked to do very much of at Ole Miss. He wasn't asked to probably change a lot of protection at Ole Miss. He probably wasn't asked a lot to, have a deeper understanding of the reading of the defense and understanding what that is. So good to see that from him. Hey, the Giants have been suffering for a while, so it'll be good to have another one. We'll get a little bit of this Abdul Carter one, and then we'll dip out of here.
What's up, man?
What's it going on? Good, buddy. How you doing? How's it going? What's Abdul? Nice to meet you, man. So,
Now, this is the combine meeting. So this is,
I feel you can play off the ball and on the edge. I can play it where y'all need. Like, you're a good football player around. It's fun to watch. Do you prefer playing one or the other? Yeah, off that is definitely my money spot. That's where I feel like I'm at my best. I can impact the team the most. Just my pass rush ability. There's no way you can block me one-on-one, especially for a whole game.
Tell us a little bit, just kind of your pass rush mindset.
My mindset is I try to control every rush. Like, I'm attacking, I'm setting the pace, I'm setting the tone. Gonna make it react off of me. Wherever you get me, you got to counter for pretty much anything they give.
I love to hear that, man. I love to hear that, dog. I think Abdul Carter is gonna be a dog. Now he's been going through his own drama, right? Because of the whole number situation, he ended up with 51. If y'all want a separate New York Giants video, y'all let me know down below in the comments. I want to try to get through all the mini camps, but everything's been going so quick in the news and everything. So if y'all want something separate for that, I just wanted to bring that up because this is a very iconic one, and I can't play it because I'm gonna explain to you why Shedeur Sanders interview most likely will not be released regularly, right? I don't think the Giants can get released. Now, can they leak it for real? Who knows? And now we're getting more leaks from different people. People are saying different things. From what it looks like right now, this was from Hard Knocks, right? And a lot of people were like, oh, why didn't they release Shedeur like they did Jaden Daniels? Because Jaden Daniels was a part of Hard Knocks offseason. So that was HBO. They had their footage and did that. So we have to assume that is different than from the rules of the NFL. Again, the Giants have only released the 2 players that they did end up drafting. So I would be hard-pressed to believe that the Giants themselves are going to release that, but be on the lookout for that. People are going to continue to leak these things out and kind of put the pieces together. But right now, I think this dude said it. He said, I can't get Todd McShay's words about Shedeur Sanders out of my mind. he said that two teams, by the way, it's only been 2 teams so far. So it's kind of crazy to me. 2 teams said they had a bad interview. Then he clarified it wasn't disrespect or arrogant. Remember that. That's what they said. It was not disrespect or arrogant. They just felt that, I'm quoting him verbatim, that he didn't care too much about what they thought about him. Let that sink in. Let him in. His biggest crime is that he believed in himself too much to allow negative opinions, which may be valid, affect his self-portrait. And that is what several folks are calling character issues. I couldn't have said it better, man. I really appreciate y'all watching. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you don't like it, subscribe if you want more football content, comment what you want to see more of. You're great, keep being great, but you already knew you were great. We'll see you next time, man. Peace.